Hi, I'm Ellen McCauley in Syracuse, New York. And one of the topics that we've never talked about, 5.5 years of praying it off, we've talked about depression. We could talk about that every week, couldn't we? We've talked about stress. We could talk about that every week. But we've never talked about being honest. Being honest. And the first thing I want to talk about tonight is being honest with God. I always think it's so funny that people have a fear of confession. Because do you think God doesn't already know what you did? Do you think He doesn't know? Do you think if you go into confession and you lied 20 times and you said, I only lied 10 times, you don't think God's up there going, wait a minute, what about those other 10? Oh, He knows. And do you think that if you say, I'm just going to write salad and not the honker antipasto I had with 2,000 calories, that Ellen won't know? But it doesn't matter that I know, because God knows, and your body knows. So first I want to talk about being honest with God. I grew up a cradle Catholic, and I know all the prayers, the Hail Mary, the Our Father. And I was always good with the gimmies. Oh, help my this, help my friend, help my this. But you know what, after I did this week's meeting, I said, I'm really going to try just to have conversations with God. You know, when I go to work in the morning, I would always pray. You know, I do the Divine Mercy, I do the Rosary in the car. But this week, I just talked to God. Conversation, hey God, me, Ellen. You know, I want to tell you something's on my mind, and I know that you love me, and what do you think about this? You know? And I can tell you, I enjoyed those conversations so much. And I didn't have to worry about being honest with Him because He knows. Psalm 62:8, trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us, not the salsa and chips, not the bagel and cream cheese. God is our refuge because He wants to give us strength. He wants to help us. He wants to be there for us. God chose to reveal Himself perfectly through Jesus. So if anyone says, well, I don't really know what God is. He's just some spiritual thing. Really? Because I know what God is because I see Jesus. I know that God loved Jesus. Somebody I was talking to the other day said, you know, I really lost my faith with all the Catholic Church problems and all the bureaucracy. And I really lost my faith. I said, well, what do you think about God? And he said, I really don't know where God is. I said, let's talk about Jesus. And he's got a little scared. Talking about Jesus. But I think I made some sense to him because I said, if you read the Bible, Jesus never said anything or did anything that we could say, ooh, that wasn't really good, what Jesus said there. What did He say? Love your neighbor, be kind. Didn't He love sinners and embrace everybody? Did He get on His pulpit and say, if you do this, you're going to hell? All He really said was, love your neighbor, love. If we want to see God, we need to see Jesus. Jesus is the perfect revelation or picture of God. And I do want to mention, and I want to mention this for everyone listening, we already had one member after the very first meeting say that they didn't want to be part of the group anymore because we talk too much about God. And I want to say that the name of this group is Pray It Off. Pray. I went to Weight Watchers. I went to everything under the sun except for gastric bypass. And you know what I wasn't doing then? I wasn't losing the weight and keeping it off. But now that I've introduced the pray part, so we're not going to cut back on asking Jesus to help us or naming the name of Jesus. We're going to increase it because I firmly believe that God has a part of this group every week. When I go to prepare this meeting, I say, God, what do you want me to talk about this week? And you don't know how many people who come up to me and say, were you at my house? How did you know I needed to hear this? I didn't. God did. He wants to share our griefs, our heartaches, even our struggles with faith. He wants me to turn my eyes to heaven and say, how can my sister suffer so much? And you know what? He sheds tears for her too. God did not make people die or have illness or have pain. He is there to love us through it all. God desires your honesty with him, even with the problems you face. He loves us. So this is a perfect segue into being honest with God. And how about being honest with ourselves? I have this one friend who is so high maintenance. They are the highest maintenance friend you could ever find. And when she describes herself, she says this: I'm so easy. I'm no trouble. I don't know why this person doesn't want me to go spend the week at their house. I'm easy. I'm no trouble. And you almost want to say, who are you talking about? You? You're the most high maintenance person I know. And then whenever that happens, whenever someone says something about themselves that's so different than what I think, am I being honest with myself? Do I really see myself? And you know, there are times that I think all of us don't want to look too close because we might not like what we see. And you know, one of the things we want to talk about is being honest in the weight loss process. And I love this quote: you wear in public what you eat in private. Don't you? You know, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there, does it make a sound? So if you're at the refrigerator scarfing in the leftover lasagna cold and no one sees you, does it really count? Guess what, everyone? It does. It does count. And you know what else counts? And they talked about it in Weight Watchers. And I've never complained. Weight Watchers is a darn good program, and I loved it. But I couldn't keep it off because I said, I'm done. I went, I'm done. But you're never done. When you have a problem with your relationship with food, I'm not talking about you have a baby, you gain 20 pounds, you lose it. I'm talking about someone who from 12, 11, 10, or even as an adult has a problem. When you have a problem, you have to be honest with yourself. And Weight Watchers talked about the BLTs, the bites, the licks, and the tastes. And we think they don't count. You know, you're making dinner and you're saying, well, I'm having a salad, but I'm making the kids, you know, a hamburger helper, and you're over there going, rah, rah, rah. And next thing you know, you think you haven't eaten a cup? You think you haven't eaten 370 calories? But it was just a bite, a lick, a taste. And it's not even on your log because those don't count. They don't count. I wasn't sitting down. I didn't have a fork. I didn't have a knife. And here's something else. If you have other people know, you know, if you say to your family and your friends, you know, I've joined a weight loss group. Oh, you don't think they're going to be watching you? You don't think they're going to be keeping you honest? And almost too much. Because if you've saved your calories and Friday night you're at a dinner party and you have a little sliver of cheesecake and you know you're going to work it off tomorrow and it's none of their business, and they go, do you really think you need that cheesecake? But you have to remember, they're there trying to keep us honest. And think about them when you are having, and one of my favorite stories is how you go to a party and you say, I don't want the cheesecake, but I'll take a piece home for my son. And it's on the seat in the car, and you drive, and and then all the next thing you know, cheesecake. And your husband's got a brand new car, and he's like, why is the wheel so sticky? You know? You still ate the cheesecake. So you need to remind yourself of your goals and your progress so far. I've asked everyone to give me their original sheet of their goals, their contract with themselves, because I made a copy of it. So if you don't remember your goals, I'll remind you. Like 3 weeks from now, if I see, you know, pizza, 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 and I flip over the page and go, now, did you see here where you said you were going to eliminate pizza from your diet? I'll remind you. Honesty is the best policy for weight loss. You need to own your own body. You need to make decisions. I am the master. I am not a slave to my desires. You know, so it's so easy to make excuses. I had a bad day, I got bad genes, I had bad news, I have stress, and I can exercise in the summer, I can exercise in the winter's bad for me, the summer's bad for me, graduation's bad for me. I could go on and on for hours. Honesty implies a personal responsibility. No one puts that food in your mouth. I looked around tonight, no one is a feeder here. We don't go like this and put it in your mouth. We feed ourselves. So we are responsible for what goes into there. And guess what they say? Use a food journal. Use a food journal. You are knowing what you ate by looking at that food journal. It keeps you honest. I have been so good this session at going half a cup, quarter cup, and I yell out to Bob, what, you know that crab cake, you know, did you save the box? I want to see what and I would write everything down because I've made up my mind that I want to get the last 30 pounds off. And honesty also means that you believe you are capable of change. I can do this. Because I'll tell you right now, there's 25 people, 25, who are sitting there going, I don't think I can do this. I can't do this. Why am I coming? Oh, Ellen will kill me if I quit. You think you can't do that because you think you're not capable of change, and I am telling you this right now. I am 59 years old, and I started this group when I was 54. And I am capable of change. Anyone who's on the downside of that, you can do it. Anyone who's on the upside of that, you can do it too. I'm going to stop right there, Bobby.